Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan. Have you ever wanted to play the piano or maybe the guitar? How about the drums, saxophone, trumpet, accordion? Maybe you want to learn to play all of them at once. Okay, I'm kidding about the last one, but the business we're going to feature today isn't kidding about being able to teach you how to play these instruments in a more unique way. My guest today is Kristine Renigen. She's the site director of a place called Bach to Rock, located in Port Washington. Kristine, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello.
It's good to have you here today, Kristine. So this sounds really interesting. Tell us about your career path and how you got into this.
Oh, so it was quite a path.
Okay.
So funny story, I went to Stony Brook and studied film. So I was a cinema and cultural studies major and with a minor in music. So I've actually been studying music myself since I was born. My dad was a singer and a guitar player. So, I've always been surrounded by music and it's always been with me. I started studying it since I was 9. And so that's why I decided to minor in music as well, because I just didn't want to be away from it. After I had graduated, I got into the dance business.
You're one of those creative people.
I'm very creative. I'm always around the arts.
We are as opposite as can be because I do not have a creative bone. But as you said, you've been around the arts, etc. Mm-hmm. How did you get in the business of teaching music?
So I actually wound up teaching ballroom first. And then I had moved into Port Washington, and I passed by Bach to Rock several times, and I saw that they had some openings because I was looking for a change. And I was like, wait a minute, maybe I could teach music too. So I applied. I got to play for them and sing for them a little bit. And I actually started at Bach to Rock as a music teacher. It was awesome, was amazing. And then 2 years after that, I got promoted to assistant director. So I got to learn the business and how everything worked. I also kind of did a little bit of that in the dance studio as well. So I already had some admin experience. And then I just recently became site director a few months ago.
You're doing what you love, and I can see as I'm talking to you, you're beaming, which we love to see on the show. You seem to get a lot of guests who really enjoy, whether it's food preparation or music or running a restaurant or running a different type of business or a charity. They seem to love what they do. And always that's the fun people to talk to because they have found their calling, so to speak. Now, Bach to Rock, B-A-C-H, to rock. If I understand it talking to you, this is almost like a franchise. You can find them in different places. So it's not just one location in Port Washington. That's where you happen to be.
Correct.
What is the mission of Bach to Rock?
So Bach to Rock's mission is just to make learning music fun and easy, help kids build their confidence and, get to the opportunity to work with other students as well in an ensemble. We have a very large band program that we're very proud of. But the most important thing is to make music fun.
And you were telling me this is, and obviously a lot of kids, that's what they want to be growing up. A musician, a rock star, etc. Nothing wrong with that. They're learning. They have creative talents. And you were telling me a lot of kids come in and they set up their own bands, and it might be, I'm going to guess, anywhere from 2, 4, 5, or 6. And then you have your own band there of the students, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the right place for creative people and people who enjoy music and want to meet other musicians.
Yes, definitely.
I'm just thinking myself, do musicians skew one way or the other? Is it male, female? Are they 50-50? Or is it 10% female or 90% female?
That's a good question. I feel like it's pretty 50-50.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. When you think of a band, I think of more males than females, but that's just what comes to mind. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how, when you're teaching them, if bands are skewed one way or another. If it's
there are some bands that might have like more girls
and
boys,
sure.
But for the most part, it's pretty even.
No, it sounds like a lot of fun and actually a very good business opportunity for the people involved. Who makes up your staff?
So a lot of our staff, they're gigging musicians. They also have their degrees in music. They're amazing. They're really fantastic. It's just amazing to watch them play themselves, which is really great because so it's not just going in and learning, from your music teacher, you're also learning from a rock star too, which is so cool. So you can actually go and see your teachers perform.
It really is. So it might be a high school teacher, or it might be, I'm guessing from what you're saying, am I right? It could be someone who has their own band and they're good. What do you look for and what makes a good music teacher? Now, someone, I'm guessing, like anything else, you can be a great doctor, but you can't teach it, or a great mathematician. So what do you look for to get that right teacher?
Well, see, Bach to Rock really wants to provide a well-rounded lesson. So not only do we look for the rock stars, but we also want to look for teachers that are very personable and that can connect well with all different ages, mostly younger kids too, because that's what a majority of our students are on the younger side. So we try to find instructors that kind of have a way of teaching things that make it fun and also in a way make them not realize that they're learning.
It's funny when you say that, because I was thinking as you're answering the question, we don't realize or give teachers enough credit for the work they do, and especially if they do it easily, until you meet I don't want to say the bad teacher, but maybe the teacher who's in the wrong field for their talents. They don't connect with people. And I've met people like that, and it's like instant, like, we're just not connecting. We're walking on different paths, and it's not going to work. And if you're lucky enough to get that person who connects with all or at least most of the students, right there, that's a win-win. And if they're motivators and get through to them and the students are enjoying it, that's really a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, do the students come there? Is it like an hour a week, 10 hours, you would think something tied into a school?
So usually they'll come in for a half hour for private lessons, sometimes an hour. For our band programs, they rehearse for an hour every week. And we also have early childhood classes too.
When you say early, how early is early?
Early, like 6 months. So we have Mommy and Me classes that get the kids exposed to music, have them respond to like different rhythms and just dance and sing along. And then, they grow from there.
I would think the worst thing you could do would be to give someone 2 or 3 years old a set of drums. I don't want to hurt your business, but I think that the mother may come back and looking for you and what have you. What's the band program like? Is that mostly younger people? I'm thinking the junior high to high school age?
Actually, it starts as young as elementary school. So we actually have a large Battle of the Bands at the end of our school year. So we have elementary school, middle school, and high school. And then we also have adult bands that like to rehearse in our space as well. So all ages.
Oh, really? So now, again, we think of, in quotes, a school, younger people, junior high, at least I do, high school. But do you get people past that group that come in to take lessons?
Yeah. So, a lot of parents also like to come in and take lessons when their kids are having lessons. We've even had a mother and daughter take lessons together as well, which is fun. Speaking of drums, I think they took drum lessons together. Okay.
So they have no neighbors. Everybody moved out of the neighborhood. Now they have the building to themselves. What seems to be the most popular instrument? There's
several, but I'd say like the popular ones would definitely be piano, voice. Drums has become very popular this year. It's been very high in demand, which I'm very surprised. I haven't seen so many drum students.
Is there a reason? I don't know music that well. Did someone get very popular in the drummers world, or somebody pass away, or something that would?
I'm not sure, but yeah, I just noticed recently this year that drums have become very popular.
Okay, out there, if you know what you were looking for, be a drummer. You hear the expert here, Kristine, telling you drums are the most popular for a while. I'm just thinking, does it go in waves like every once in a while?
Yeah, because when I had started, piano, voice, and guitar were like the top three, but recently drums got up there.
I was thinking when I was telling someone about the show, I was thinking guitar would probably be, because I associate that with the rock stars and the instrument, and they see the stars up there and they say, what's the term we all use? You want to be a rock star, even if you're talking to a room of 50 people. I hope it's 60 next time, and then I'll be rated a rock star in that field. So that's what we analogize.
Yeah.
What's the benefit over having a private lesson as opposed to a group lesson?
So private lesson, obviously you get individual attention. So the instructor gets to cater to your needs. So if you want to work on like specific type of music, the entire lesson is all about you.
Kristine, before we go further, I'd like to let our audience know that if you're just tuning in, you're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Bill Horan. Our guest today is Kristine Renigen. She's the site director of Bach to Rock, a unique business that offers music lessons for all ages, all levels, and all instruments, with a location in Port Washington. By the way, Kristine, if someone is interested in hearing this and finding out more, is there a website where they can get in touch?
Yes, they can visit us at bachtorock.com/Port Washington.
Oh, easy enough. And we'll ask you to give that to us later on in the show. If someone wants to just find out more information, look into it, and maybe we've lit a little spark with someone who says, I always wanted piano lessons or I wanted to do this. I think I told you the story. Several years ago, we had a prodigy on who I want to say he was just about in junior high school and a very quiet, reserved person. And when I asked him why he wanted to play, and I forget whether the instrument was a piano or a violin, he looked at me as if he should tell me the truth or not and said, well, I thought it would be a good way to meet girls. And I'm asking you, do kids, the younger people, do this as a social activity? Is it more of that, or are they into the music, or I'm guessing maybe you get both?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, especially those that are interested in our band program. There's a huge social aspect in that. And it's also a different skill that you get to learn as a musician when you're in a band. So as opposed to just playing by yourself, you have to actually like connect with the other band members and like listen. And it's just a whole other type of skill that you get to learn in an ensemble. And, you know, we have bands that have been together for a very long time. We had one band that had started with us when we first opened, and they stayed together until high school, even college, which was amazing. So I think they were even writing songs together by then. So, yeah, it's definitely a great social aspect, but you also get to build friendships, too.
Do you ever, and maybe you do this all regularly, when you say a band, do 5 people come in, like when I would come in, if I'm again associating more with a student level, but would 3 or 4 people come in and say, we're the 4th Street Band or something, and then you work with them? Or does Joe meet Mary, Sam, and Eddie, and they say, let's create a band. We're all here. We're playing complementary instruments.
Yeah, so most of the time we build the bands. So we try to pair the kids together based on age and skill set and personalities, too. Sometimes, occasionally, we'll get a group of kids that already, you know, have their instruments established, and they're like, hey, we want to be in a band together. So sometimes that works out, but majority of the time, we try to match up the kids together.
I like that expression. By the way, that might be something for marketing, build a band. And I'm thinking of, because I was just at the store, Build a Bear. Yeah, Build a Bear. But, I mean, if people came in, or if I moved into a town and wanted to play music with other people, that's a great way to meet them and to come to your organization. And you put me in a band, and maybe I meet some new friends, or if not, I learn a little bit from them. So that's kind of fun, too. Now, you participate in community events as an organization, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that, because I would not think of that, a school, especially when it's dedicated to music, would be involved in other events.
Yeah, so Port Washington is very supportive of the arts. So they have a lot of local events that they always welcome our students to come and perform. So it gives a lot of our students chances to perform in front of an audience, whether it's outside. You know, one of our big events is like Port Fest, for example, where we have a lot of local vendors that come in, and you know, it just gives a chance for the students to just play and perform for their community.
And they probably love that, and it's a resume builder. No, because it is. And of course, first of all, parents come because you want to see it. Relatives, grandparents are always going to be there to see them play. Maybe I'm guessing, and you can tell me if this is true, some of them won't go on. This is something they like to do at a certain point in life, and all of us have had part of our background. Others may go on to very rich, wealthy, and I don't mean financially, but careers that are rewarding for them. So that's a win-win for everybody. What's the Battle of the Bands? Tell us about that. You throw rocks at each other?
Battle of the Bands is like our Super Bowl. We have a Battle of the Bands every June, so at the end of the school year. And usually it's held in the city, so we find a really amazing venue. This year it's going to be at the City Winery. And basically we have 3 divisions. We have our elementary school, middle school, and high school division that compete against each other. We also have guest judges that come in and support the students, so they get to judge them and give them some really great feedback. But yeah, it's a really, really amazing event.
Who's your rival in that? Is it somebody called Music World or Hit Those Drums? I'm just wondering, like, we think of certain colleges and schools, if it's North Side and South Side, they're rivals because they're in the same town, etc. Do you guys have a rival, or is the Battle of the Bands internal?
It's internal, so it's usually within the schools. Sometimes we'll have other Bach to Rock schools from different locations join us. But for example, last year it was just our school. We've had about 24 to 34 bands in our school alone. So we have lots of bands to compete against each other. No,
that really is. I thought you meant like 3 or 4. I mean, if you got, what'd you say, 24 to?
24 to 34.
Now, how long is this event?
It's all day.
Oh, it would have to be.
Yeah.
I thought it might even be a weekend, like, you make the cut Friday or Saturday, and then you come back Sunday for the finals or something like that. And I bet the kids love it.
Oh, they love it. Yeah, it's really great.
And if nothing else, it's a resume builder. It's something on your resume, which I give people a lot of credit, whether they play on a team or they're in robotics or something, that they could do this. It kind of tells the world they get along with people and they can fit into it. Now, something that amazed me, you have programs for children with special needs.
Yes, we do.
You got to tell us about that.
Yeah, so, we're so happy that we have something of that caliber at our school. So we have instructors that have experience working with children with special needs. A lot of the parents come to us and they're like, my child really loves music and, I can't really find a place that is, the right fit for them. So we have instructors that can create lesson plans that cater to their needs. So each individual student's needs. That's
wonderful. I mean, when I really think of it, because then for that person, and as someone said, I'm thinking of an athlete who would go in races with his father, and the father would push the wheelchair, and he was kind of famous in the Boston area. And he said, I'm not different anymore. I'm one of the group. And in music, it's what you produce. So it doesn't matter if you can play the drums, I guess, or the guitar or the piano. We don't know. You're just playing it, and you're part of the band. Do you get a lot of people in that group with the special needs?
Yeah, and we actually work very closely with one of the organizations in town called the Nicholas Center, and we actually have their groups come in and form bands with us as well. So we have about, I think, 4 bands with them right now, and we're building more so that they get to actually have the band experience as well. Awesome.
That really is fantastic, and I think I just would have never thought of that. It just didn't even enter into my mind, but I think it's a wonderful thing that you do. We talked about the special needs, but what about programs for adults?
Oh, yeah. So we offer private lessons for adults. We're also bringing back our adult jam, which is really fun. I know the adults loved that. Basically, we just open up the school, have all the adults come in, and they just get to jam together and just make music, which is awesome.
Now, I'm going to ask you, what's the oldest student you have?
Oh.
Without getting in trouble. You don't have to say Mary, she's 92 or something. Well, or a guess. I mean, maybe,
I know we've had a student that was 89.
Wow. I credit that person a lot because I think we all want to learn something. And first of all, they tell us as long as we're learning and reading and studying, that's good for us, playing puzzles, whatever. But for someone to do that and take part, first of all, naturally everybody else loves them. Unless they're the biggest grouch in the world, they become the beloved grandfather or grandmother of the group, so to speak. And for someone to be able to do that, and I think a lot of people often wanted to, at least from what I've heard from people in the music world, but they were either shy or didn't have the opportunity growing up or the funds or I had never known that there was such a school as Bach to Rock, and I think that's fantastic now. And to get people up to age 89, that is really super. So that must be a lot of fun, too. When it comes to kids, what age, you mentioned like 6 months, but that's to do a Mommy and Me, I think. When can they really start learning music if someone is into that?
Well, after Mommy and Me, we have a toddler class called Rock City, where it gets the kids exposed to all the different instruments. So they're not quite playing it yet, but they're actually learning some very basic elements that are important in music. So like identifying like what a quarter note and a eighth note is, and just identifying those rhythms and actually reading them, identifying different sounds, what a piano sounds like, what a guitar sounds like. They do get to play the drums in class, which is
You're trying to get rid of a lot of neighbors. I think lawyers are going to start hiring your students. You want to clean out the building? Get some of Kristine's students.
Yeah.
Kristine, before we talk further, I want to let our audience know again, you're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Bill Horan. Our guest today is Kristine Renigen. She's the site director of Bach to Rock, a unique business that offers music lessons for all ages, all levels, and all instruments, with a location in Port Washington. Kristine, once again, tell our audience if they're interested in finding out more information, the website.
Yes, you can visit us at bachtorock.com/Port Washington.
Now, I think you said you offer singing lessons as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get somebody with a voice like mine who say, oh my gosh, they want to take singing lessons and they're not even going to be close? And it's like noticing someone who just isn't an athlete or isn't a dancer. What happens then?
I mean, the lessons are for you, you know. A lot of people come in, you know, they're like, I can't really sing. But then they surprise themselves once they get into the lesson, you know. It's mostly because they're just not too knowledgeable about like how the instrument works. Mm-hmm. But once they get into that lesson, they'll be amazed at what they can accomplish in just a half hour.
I think you're a good person for outreach, I guess it would be the right term, because a lot of us think that way. Oh, I've never sung. I guess I wouldn't be good, or I don't know enough. And it might be a great opportunity to get into things, etc. What is the craziest instrument you've been asked to give lessons to?
I'm going to say the didgeridoo.
Oh, sure. We all play the didgeridoo. I mean, I was just playing it this morning. Obviously, I've never heard of it. You might be kidding me and just playing a trick on me here. Is there such an instrument?
There is.
You can tell me that's a bird. It sounds like a bird, the didgeridoo.
It's really cool, but yeah, we don't offer lessons for the didgeridoo yet. But
did someone come in and ask for that?
Yes.
Were they serious? I guess they were.
Yeah. I was so sad that I couldn't offer them the lessons because that would have been fun.
Well, now you put up a sign, wanted didgeridoo. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us anything just about it, though? I mean, is it unique for a certain country?
I believe so, but I don't want to be wrong.
Okay, no, that's good. You're playing it safe, and that's good. When I saw the question, I was thinking, I said, I bet it's going to be the bagpipes because that's unusual enough. But you do see them in parades, mm-hmm. and there's a group of people who like it, and some high schools have their own bagpipe. I don't know if you call it club or band, etc. Mm-hmm. Once you've run a class, is there like a graduation? Is there a final concert at the end of the year, and what is the school year for music? Yeah,
so we do have recitals twice a year. So we have a winter recital and we have an end of the year recital. But yeah, as far as like the graduation process, you know, every student is different. So, you know, they graduate at different times. So that's a little bit more personal for each student, which I think is great because then, you know, we'll have like a little photo shoot with them with their certificate and stuff. So the graduation itself is a little more personal, but every student gets an opportunity to perform.
I think that's fun, and I often tell people, especially younger people, even if you're not going to go on to be a world-class soccer player or football player or track star, the fact that you competed, it can be at the mm-hmm. town level, the intramural level, the fact that they did this. Most of us aren't going to go on to the highest levels. Obviously, it gets smaller as you get to the top of the pyramid. Mm-hmm. But it's fun knowing that you tried this, you competed in it, you did something at a certain level. And, of course, if you do have some skill and can come shooting out of the pack, and maybe even you become the only person in the world playing the didgeridoo, now that's going to stick with me all day. I know that. I'm just going to bring that up, and people are going to think I'm crazy. You have musical-themed birthday parties. Tell us about that.
Yes. Oh, our most popular is our karaoke party. And what's unique about that? So usually you think karaoke party, you're just, you know, in front of a screen, reading words and singing along to music. But what we do at Bach to Rock is we also have a recording session for our birthday parties. So the birthday celebrant gets to choose a song they want to record, and they go into our recording studio and they get to sing it with all of their guests, which is awesome. And then they get to go home with an MP3 of the recording.
That I love that. I've never heard of that, but knowing that people like to have birthday parties and get together someplace, whoever's your naturally creative director, and I'm thinking, who am I talking to? It's a creative art. But they're coming up with some very good ideas and making it interesting, and you're making grandparents around the world very happy, no matter what.
Yeah.
So, and they don't have to play the didgeridoo. Now, something about you actually also rent out a studio there. So if people want to, I guess, do it on their own, is that what it's for, or how does that work?
So yeah, if someone wants to record their own music, whether it's music or even voiceovers, we've had some people come in for voiceovers. We have a recording studio, and you're welcome to come in and rent the space. We have an engineer on staff. We actually have several engineers on staff. So yeah, if you want to come in and do some recordings of your own, you're welcome to do that.
Now, is the people you get doing that, is that someone who is making a tape for, they want to be a newscaster, or are they singing? Or, I mean, I'm just wondering what the typical person comes in, or do they play the didgeridoo or the harmonica? No, I mean, I'm somewhat being serious, but joking along the way. Is there an area where it concentrates that most people feel they're a good guitar player and they want to send it into NBC or something to see if they could be on a show? Yeah,
well, majority of them are musicians. So a lot of times we'll have, songwriters that want to come in and record their music. Sometimes like college applicants, they want to come in and use the studio to record for their applications. But yeah, majority of it is, songwriters that want to.
Oh, I didn't think of that. College applications, right? If someone's going to it. And from what I understand, again, I'm not a music person, but the sound quality of a room with the right microphones, etc. We know on the show sometime a guest is doing it on Zoom, and if they don't have a good microphone, we're talking about something very inexpensive because it's just talking.
Right.
But here you're talking about the sound quality of music, etc. Kristine, what's the one thing you want to leave us with about Bach to Rock that our audience should know about?
Bach to Rock makes music fun to learn. It's different from Carnegie Hall where, it's very regimented, but Bach to Rock is just a place to have fun and make music and meet friends.
It really sounds that way, and I can see like the way you exude happiness talking about it. I think you're the right person in the right place. Some people just seem to be a good doctor, a good judge. I think you're doing what you love, and obviously that makes the place a wonderful place to be. Give us that website once again.
It's bachtorock.com/Port Washington.
Give it a try. And by the way, what other towns is it in if they're looking for it?
We're currently the only one on Long Island, but we do have some upstate like Mamaroneck and Nanuet.
I have a feeling this is going to be all. This sounds like a win-win for everybody, so I think it's going to be more and more popular. I want to thank our guest, Kristine Renigen. She is the site director of Bach to Rock, a unique business that offers music lessons for all ages, all levels, all instruments, with a location here in Port Washington. Kristine, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Bill Horan. Thanks for listening to this week's special edition of My Hometown.
We like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.